Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Dazel. I'm from the UNISA Directorate for Counseling and Career Development. And with me is my colleague, Dr. Chipiwa Kodisang. And this afternoon, we're just going to talk about time management and especially for first-year students. Welcome, Dr. Kodisang.
Good afternoon, Lisa. Good afternoon to the students as well. I'm very grateful that this afternoon we took time to just have a conversation about time management. I wonder whether this sounds familiar, where you just feel there is just not enough time in the day. And you are wondering, it's very hard to balance your studies with other commitments. It's a daily struggle. I can imagine at times you are just saying, I feel overwhelmed by the amount of work I have to do. Does it sound familiar that you even feel guilty for taking breaks? Or is it also a familiar thing where you feel like you are just rushing from one thing to the other? I spoke to somebody yesterday who says, I'm just rushing because I have got an assignment due today, I've got an assignment due tomorrow, and there are other commitments as well. So it's just a rush to complete assignments, but also rush to do other things that you need to do as well. I wonder whether this is a familiar concept. You might be wondering, why is it so important to manage time? In your study journey, one thing that you will hear time and again is that you need to manage your time. In actual fact, to succeed in anything in life, you need to manage time. One of the reasons it's important to manage your time is for optimal learning. You will have enough time to study, understand complex concepts, and engage in critical thinking. This leads to deeper learning and better retention of information. It also impacts on improved academic performance. You are able to meet your deadlines and produce high quality of work. You must remember that what is important is not that you have just submitted your assignment, but you need to submit an assignment that you feel proud of. You are proud of the quality of your work so that you can be proud of the quality of the results or the quality of the graduate you are going to be. It's a building block. As you manage your time, it impacts of the depth of the work you do. It impacts on you as a person as well. That leads to the next thing that relates to managing time. It reduces stress. If you plan ahead and break down tasks into smaller tasks, you can reduce stress and build more confidence. When you are anxious, you tend to doubt yourself more. You are not sure of what you are doing and you don't understand what you are doing because you are just rushing through, and anxiety tends to take over. And when you are anxious, you can't even understand or have a true reflection of what you are doing, what are the challenges, which part you can be comfortable with, which make you to be highly stressed. Managing time also help in preparation for the future. Strong time management skills prepared you for the demands of the workplace and other settings. You don't just need time management because you are a student, but as a professional, as an expert, anywhere where you will be as a graduate, you need to know how to manage time. So that's why time management is also one of those graduate attributes. So you need to understand now that you are not just managing time so that you can submit assignment, but it should be one of your ethos. It should be one of your principles as a responsible citizen or as a graduate and as a professional as well. Let's take some time to reflect on time management. I'm going to ask you these questions that I want you to take a moment to think about them. Are you aware of how you choose to spend your time? Sometimes you might not realize you make a choice. You make a choice whether you want to answer the phone now. You want a choice whether you want to be on Instagram. You also made a choice of the time as you are listening to this podcast. So are you aware of the choices you make with regard to how you choose to spend your time. Also think about what is making it difficult for you to manage your time. So you make choices. Are you aware of the choices you are making? But secondly, you also need to think about what is making it difficult to manage your time. The third question is, what do you need to do differently to manage your time? What needs to change? Maybe it's your relationship with your cell phone. Maybe it's how much time you spend sleeping or how much time you don't spend sleeping. So you need to think about what do you need to do differently to manage your time. The other thing, what did you do before when you could manage academically? Think about the time when you were in secondary school or the time when you were studying at another university. How did you use to manage your time? What made you to succeed in your matric year so that you end up being at university? I could imagine there was something that you were doing to manage your time, and that also made you to succeed. You are not here by chance. Part of the reason you are here today at UNISA is because you were managing academically, but also that translates that you were managing your time. As we continue with the reflection on time management, you also need to think about what support do you need to be able to manage your time more effectively. When we think about support, you could also think, who do you need? Who do you need to talk to? With time management, there is also a question, where and when will you study? Now, let's talk about you making time for your studies. You need to make time for your studies. And it's important to think about how you are currently spending your time. Look at how you are currently spending your time. Which activities will you need to spend less time on to have enough time for your studies? You need to reflect on this. You need to be honest with this. For me to be able to sit now and be able to be with you and Lisa during this moment, there are certain things that I just decided I don't need to spend time on this. So I'm not investing on that. I'm taking time for this because this is important part of my work. And as we continue to talk about making time for your studies, have you budgeted enough time for your studies? Do you have budget of your time which is allocated for your studies? If you are studying full-time we are referring to somebody who is not working at all, just only focused on studying at UNISA. You have at least 40 hours per week. How will you allocate the time? You could spread out the 40 hours over 5 or 7 days, depending on your circumstances. If you are studying part-time, it means that you are studying and working. Your hours per week study budget is a bit restricted. Look at the 7 days of the week where you can carve time out for study and stick to those times, because a steady work pace is the key to progress. You might have limited time, but if there is consistency and you really invest on that limited time, you can also make so much progress. You will, if you are studying part-time, you will either get up early or study after hours when others have gone to sleep. So those are the decisions that you also have to make. You also have to decide, maybe I will wake up early, go to my office or to a place of work and study before my colleagues arrive. That's the decision you have to make, instead of arriving in the office and you are drinking coffee and lingering around for an hour. You could take that time and invest on your studies. So time management is very important. It's also thinking about, what am I doing when? How can I use that time towards my studies? Another question that we need to talk about is, where does your time go? See if you can account for a week's worth of time. If you look at your week, if you look at the week that we are in now, can you account what happened? What happened yesterday? What happened today? What happened day before yesterday? What were you doing? Is there something tangible? Is there something you can show for? Make your best estimate of how many hours you spend in a week. How many hours do you spend in a week studying? How many hours do you spend in a week maybe being busy with other things? You need to decide how many hours do you dedicate to your studies. It's important that we also now look, where does your time go? We have given you an example here of a list of activities. Think about how much time do you spend sleeping? How much time do you spend eating, including preparing for food? How much time do you spend for personal hygiene? How much time do you spend working? If you are volunteering, how much time do you spend doing that? How much time do you spend studying, reading, and researching? But also, how much time is invested on transportation, moving from your house to the library or from library to the house? How much time do you spend on other activities such as church services, clubs, or partying with friends? How much time do you spend attending movies? How much time do you also spend alone on your cell phone, on your TV, or just surfing the website? How much time do you spend for exercise? How much time do we spend reading for fun? And how much time do you spend talking on the phone? Where does your time go? It's important that you look at how you are currently using your time and you then think about the following. Which activities can you spend less time on? Which activities can you negotiate with others to help you with? Which activities do you need to let go of for now? Although we all wish we had more time, the important thing is that when we do, what do we do with the time we have? We can have more time. Time can be there, even now you have got more time. But the question is, what are we doing with the time we have? Time management strategies can help us better use the time we do by creating a schedule that works for our time personally. Look back at the number of hours you wrote in the previous table for a week of studying. Do you have 6 to 8 hours of study time for each semester module? That means 6 hours per week per module, year module. To reserve the study time, you may need to adjust how much time you spend on other activities. So if we need to invest 4 to 6 hours, that really makes us to think about what else can I let go? What can I minimize? So you need to borrow from other activities time so that you spend more time with your studies. Let's look at the timetable that we are indicating here to block time, to manage your time, to manage your activities, to create time for studies. Allocate specific blocks of time for different activities. Start with fixed commitments, e.g. working. Make sure to include enough hours to study time, 6 to 8 hours per week undergrad semester module, or 4 to 6 hours per week year module. Schedule breaks and other activities that brings you joy and helps you to study. So you can see here there is time even to travel to the office. There is time to relax, but there is also needs to be time for study. We cannot talk about time management and then we don't talk about procrastination. The two are not friends, they are cousins. You cannot manage your time if you procrastinate. You need to ask yourself, why do you procrastinate? Do you procrastinate because you are feeling overwhelmed? Is it due to lack of motivation? Is it due to fear of failure? The question is what to do about it. The first thing is that you need to break tasks into smaller steps. The second thing is to use positive reinforcement. And the last thing is to get support, like an accountability partner or using task management tools or apps that are available, because that will force you to do things when you need to do them, to manage your time and to account. You cannot manage your time. You cannot stay away from procrastination if you don't make space for your studies. As you create and negotiate your space, think about what you need. Do you need a quiet space with a very few distraction? If this space is not readily available at home, where will you study? So the place to study is very important, and the type of environment you need to study. It's important that you can sit and focus, because at times we procrastinate because we are thinking, I can't focus, I'm being distracted. Let's talk now about managing distractions. I'm not sure what are your distractions, but distraction for me, it could be anything that makes it difficult for you to focus on what you need to do. And in this case, is your studies. We can talk about social media as a distraction. We can talk about noisy environment as a distraction. We can also talk about tiredness as a distraction. So managing distraction, what you need to do to manage distraction, dedicate study space. You need to create a space that everything around that space motivates you or reminds you, remember, we are sitting here to study. You can also get yourself noise cancelling earphones that will help you to manage the distractions. But you also need to set boundaries with those family, friends, and roommates. But I'm also tempted to say you need to also set boundaries with yourself, because some of the distractions are internal, not necessarily external. When you are studying, you feel like maybe I must just eat now, and maybe I must just do this. And then there is all these things inside of you that are distracting you. So you also need to set boundaries for yourself to say, yes, I don't feel like studying. I want to do other things, but I really have to sit and study. It's very important that you reach out for support if you are struggling with this. I will now hand over to Lisa.
Thank you. So we are inviting you at any time that you feel stuck in terms of your studies. We offer at the Directorate for Counselling and Career Development support for students. It's normally related to your academic development, but also your career development and your personal development. So please feel free at any stage to drop us an email or to make an online appointment or to visit a student counsellor at one of our regional centres. We also have on our website a lot of resources available for you that you can use to manage your studies more effectively. So if you would want to go and learn more about time management, for example, or then as you are sitting down, how to study more effectively, that information is also available on our website. And then on our YouTube channel, we have published presentations such as this one, where you can go and take a look at what it is that you need in order to manage your studies more effectively. So from our side, we wish you a very successful study year, semester, and we hope this is not the last time that we are able to talk to you. Thank you very much.